Live. This is One for the Record. I'm Diane, and today is August 11th, 2012. It is Saturday late afternoon, and here is your alien disclosure. I had someone dropped off it looks almost like a thesis. You could call it a thesis on or a disclosure on everything going on from chemtrails to UFOs to animal mutilations. This is dated January 1988. It was by O.H. Kroll. Show you this. Someone had left this at the door. I don't know if you can. It says O.H. Kroll on it. January 1988. And then someone told me that O.H. Kroll supposedly was some kind of alien. I don't know. This discloses the fact that there are UFOs, and I'm not so much into the animal mutilation. It's saying it's our government and the aliens doing that. But it's a giant disclosure on the mystery choppers. I guess that's the black helicopters. They're saying or he's saying it exists. On the animal mutilations, whereas if it's the helicopters themselves are UFO, the choppers originate from within the U.S. The helicopters are government, military. And here it's saying the answer, as far as Tom Adams is concerned, could be a combination of both of the above explanations. They're saying there also has been a speculation that they are involved in biological experiments with chemical or biological warfare, or the geobotanical pursuit of petroleum and mineral deposits. That's your and here it says the saga begins. It seemingly all began thousands of years ago, but for the purpose of this discussion, let's start with some events that we are all familiar with. In 1947, 2 years after we set off the first nuclear explosion that our current civilization denoted, came the Mantle episode, where we had the first recorded incident of a military confrontation with extraterrestrials that resulted in the death of a military pilot. It is quite evident now that our government did not know quite how to handle the situation. In 1952, the nation's capital was overflown by a series of discs. It was this event which led to the involvement of the United States security forces, CIA, NSA, DIA, FBI, to try to keep the situation under control until they could understand what was happening. During this period, the government established a working group known as Majestic 12, MJ-12. The original members were Admiral Roscoe H. Hellencotter, Dr. Vannevar Bush, Secretary James Forrestal, General Nathan D. Twining, General Hoyt S. Vandenberg, Dr. Detlev Bronk, Dr. Jerome Hunsaker, Mr. Sidney W. Soares, Mr. Gordon Gray, Dr. McDonald Menzel, General Robert M. Montague, and Dr. Lloyd V. Berkner. The MJ-12 group has been a continuously existing group since it was created, with new members replacing others that died. For example, when Secretary Forrestal was upset at seeing the United States sold out in World War II, he wound up being sent to a naval hospital for emotional strain. Before relatives could get to him, he jumped out of a 16th-story window. Most persons close to him consider his suicide contrived. When Forrestal died, he was replaced by General Walter B. Smith. In December of 1947, Project Sign, S-I-G-N, was created to acquire as much information as possible about UFOs, their performance, characteristics, and their purposes. In order to preserve security, liaison between Project Sign and MJ-12 was limited to individuals within the Intelligence Division of the Air Materiel Command, whose role it was to pass along certain types of information through channels. Project Sign evolved into Project Grudge in December 1948. Project Grudge had an over-civilian counterpart named Project Blue Book, with which we are all familiar. Only safe, in quotes, reports were passed to Blue Book. In 1949, MJ-12 involved an initial plan of contingency called MJ 1949-04P/78. That was to make allowance for public disclosure of some data should the necessity present itself. Majestic 12 was originally organized by General George C. Marshall in July 1947 to study the Roswell Magdalena UFO crash recovery and debris. Admiral Helen Carter, director of the CIA from May 1st, 1947 until September 1950, decided to activate the Robertson Panel, which was designed to monitor civilian UFO study groups that were appearing all over the country. He also joined NICAP in 1956 and was chosen as a member of its board of directors. It was from the position that he was able to act as the MJ-12 mole, along with his team of other covert experts. They were able to steer NICAP in any direction they wanted to go. With the Flying Saucer program under complete control of MJ-12, with the physical evidence hidden away, General Marshall felt more at ease with this very bizarre situation. These men and their successors have most successfully kept most of the public fooled for 39 years, including much of the Western world, by setting up false experts and throwing their influence behind them to make their plan work, with considerable success until now. Within 6 months of the Roswell crash on 2 July 1947 and the finding of another crash UFO at San Augustine Flats near Magdalena, New Mexico on 3 July 1947, a great deal of reorganization of agencies and shuffling of people took place. The main thrust behind the original security lid and the very reason for its construction was the analysis and attempted duplication of the technologies of the discs that actively is headed up by the following groups: the Research and Development Board, Air Force Research and Development, the Office of Naval Research, CIA Office of Scientific Intelligence, and NSA Office of Scientific Intelligence. No single one of these groups was supposed to know the whole story. Each group was to know only parts that MJ-12 allowed them to know. MJ-12 also operates through the various civilian intelligence and investigative groups. The CIA and the FBI are manipulated by MJ-12 to carry out their purposes. The NSA was created in the first place to protect the secret of the recovered flying discs, and eventually got complete control over the communications intelligence. This control allows the NSA to monitor any individual through mail, telephone, telesys, telegrams, and now through online computers, monitoring private and personal conversations as they choose. In fact, the present-day NSA is the current main extension of MJ-12, pertaining to the flying saucer program. Vast amounts of disinformation are spread throughout the UFO research field. Any witnesses to any aspect of the program have their lives monitored in every detail, for each has signed a security oath. For people who have worked in the program, including military members, breaking that oath could have any of the following direct consequences: a verbal warning accompanied by a review of the security oath, a stronger warning sometimes accompanied by a browbeating and intimidation, psychologically working on an individual to bring on depression that will lead to suicide, member of the person made to appear as a suicide or accident, strange and sudden accidents always fatal, confinement in special detention centers, confinement in insane asylums where they are treated by mind control and deprogramming techniques. Individuals are released with changed personalities, identities, and altered memories, bringing the individual into the inside where he is employed and works for them, in quotes, and where he can be watched. This is usually in closed facilities with little contact with the outside world, underground facilities, and are usual place for this. Any individual who they perceive to be too close to the truth will be treated in the same manner. Okay, so I will never commit suicide. I'm not depressed, and that's how it goes. I'm never depressed, and I would never commit suicide, just so you know. Alrighty then. MJ-12 will go to any length to preserve and protect the ultimate secret, as well as we will see later. The characteristics of what this ultimate secret would turn out to be would change drastically, for it was something even Majestic 12 could not predict. Actual contact with alien groups. How the actual contact between the government and aliens was initially made is not known, but the government was made aware that it could be done by a civilian using the right equipment. Dr. Paul Benowitz, civilian scientist, did so using computer equipment and informed the government he had done so, not realizing that by then in 1983 that the government was in truth as deep into dealing with the aliens and his communications with them revealed. Dr. Benowitz lives next to Manzano weapons storage area in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He observed UFOs constantly over the area and initially decided that they were a threat to the installation. He proceeded to figure out a coding system and attempted and was successful in communicating with the aliens that were flying over that area. What he found out is that after initial contact with the aliens years ago, we agreed to provide them with bases underground in the United States in return for certain technological secrets which the aliens would reveal to us. The aliens would also be allowed to carry out certain operations, abductions, and mutilations without intervention. The original contact between the government and the extraterrestrial biological entities, who are gray in color and about 3.5 to 4.5 feet high, hereafter referred to as the Greys, was achieved between 1947 and 1951. We knew that the Greys were instrumental in performing the mutilations of animals and some humans, and that they were using the glandular substance derived from these materials for food, absorbed through the skin, and to clone more Greys in their underground laboratories. The government was also aware that the Greys performed some of the abductions to secure genetic materials. The government insisted that the Greys provided with a list that would be presented to the National Security Council. Through all this, the government thought that the Greys were basically tolerable creatures, although a bit distasteful. They presumed at the time that it was not unreasonable to assume that the public would and could get used to their presence. Between 1968 and 1969, a plan was formulated to make the public aware of their existence over the succeeding 20 years. This time period would culminate with a series of documentaries that would explain the history and intentions of the Greys. The Greys assured us that the real purpose of the abductions was for monitoring our civilization, and when we learned that the abductions were a lot more frequent and insidious than we were led to believe, the government became concerned. Their concern was also based on additional information regarding the purpose for the abductions. Then they say insertion of a 3mm spherical biological monitoring device through the nasal cavity into the brain of the abductee, implementing subliminal post-hypnotic suggestions that would compel the abductees to perform some specific act at time to be within the next 2 to 5 years, genetic crossbreeding between the Greys and human beings, insertion of discoid monitoring devices into the muscle tissue of the abductees. Presence of these has been verified by X-ray. By the time we had found out the truth about the intentions of the Grey, they intend to stay here and stay in control of our world. It was too late. He had already sold out humanity. Not that it would have made any difference, because they were here doing what they were doing anyway. In 1983, a story was outlined by government sources that said that the Greys are responsible for our biological evolution through manipulation of the DNA of already evolving primates on this planet. Various time intervals of the DNA manipulations were specified for 25,000, 15,000, 5,000, and 2,500 years ago. Originally, the government thought that the Greys meant us no harm, but today, in 1988, the picture that is emerging is exactly the opposite. The story now is one of the great deceptions at several different levels. The Greys' Trojan horse style manipulation and lying, which allied MJ 12 forces with them for decades ago. The government's disinformation of the subject of UFOs in order to perpetuate the agreement with the Greys, free of public scrutiny, the lies to the abductees, the Greys' ongoing abduction of people, and mutilation of animals in order to harvest enzymes, blood, and other tissues for their own survival needs, and a genetic blend of the Grey race and a tall Nordic race to enable Grey interface with humans to be done with greater ease. Information from a source at the Southwest Army base reveals that these multiple levels of deception are true. It is also indicated that the goal of SDI Star Wars is actually to follow through with an attack proposed by the Greys on the Nordics when they arrive in mass between now and 1992. This time schedule seems to match with the post-hypnotic programming of many abductees for actions between the next 2 to 5 years. This same source sees the world dominated and controlled by the Greys in a way similar to that portrayed in the V television series. They are concerned only for their own survival agenda, and this agenda requires biological substances from other life forms on our planet. The apparent reasoning for the Grey preoccupation with this is due to their lack of a formal digestive tract and the fact that they absorb nutrients in excrete waste directly through the skin. The substances that they acquire are mixed with hydrogen peroxide and painted on their skin, allowing absorption of the required nutrients. It is construed from this that some weaponry against them might be geared in this direction. And then it talks about the visiting Nordic. They're the ones who, like, really, I guess they look like us. They look like our race. I'll read a part of it. In October 1987, UFO researcher George Andrews was successfully able to contact one of the Nordics not associated with the Greys through a woman in California. What follows are the comments made by the alien. Were you a culture about to invade, you would not do it with a flourish, a ship showing up in the heavens, and undergo risk of being fired upon. That's a type of warfare slightly less evolved beings get into. You would create intense confusion and disagreement with only inferences to your presence. Inferences which would, in turn, cause controversial disagreement. The Greys are insidious little friends. They did exactly to us what they're doing here to you. You are not on the verge of an invasion. You are not in the middle of an invasion. The invasion has already taken place. It's merely in its final stages. What would you invade? Here he describes the optimal plan of the Greys from the beginning. You would go to the most secret of communities within its society. In the case of the United States, you would go to the you would infiltrate the CIA. You would take over some of them, and you would take over part of the KGB. You would create great dissension and disagreement between fractions of the public at large. Some groups saying they have seen UFOs, others saying, oh no, this is not possible. You would involve two major countries in an ongoing idiotic philosophical disagreement, so that while the Soviet Union and the United States constantly battle back and forth about who has which piece of territory, or whether one invades Iran, or whether one invades Afghanistan, or whatever. Wow, this was again written when? 1988? Whether one dismantled one nuclear warhead or the other dismantles a group of warheads, you would sit back and laugh if you had the capacity to laugh. You would present yourself indeed to some in a group who would protect you, CIA or MJ-12, thinking they had a more secret and more perfect knowledge of something than anyone else on this planet had. And they would covet you, and you would trust their own greed, and you would trust their own mass stupidity to trap them, and you do it on both sides. This is what they said that Nordic said. Alright, I would keep going, but well, at least you have the name of the MJ-12, the ones that, you know, that was all conspiracy. There's the names of them. Then they talk about the Dulce papers. Let's see what else we got. On a new moon or within 2 days before the new moon. What is this? Okay, in observations, Mr. Terry has gone far, but he has gone a little farther in nothing that there are times when the UFOs are seen in these areas through painstaking research. Mr. Terry found that the sightings as well as many abductions and mutilations occur on the new moon or within 2 days before the new moon, on the full moon or within 2 days before the full moon, at the perihelion, moon closest to the Earth, or within 2 days before the perihelion. Okay. The Men in Black. They're coming out with that, I think part 3 now. All things considered, UFO research has become pretty much of a circus today, and the most intriguing and controversial sideshow skirting the edges is the question of the silencers, or the mysterious Men in Black. There is a strong subliminal appeal in the mysterious Men in Black. There is a strong subliminal appeal in these accounts of visits by mysterious dark-suited figures. I have been visited myself, as have others I've known. This is what the writer's saying, not me. Attempting to silence UFO witnesses. A typical situation would be that a witness has a UFO sighting or UFO-related experience. Shortly thereafter, he is visited by one or more odd-looking men who relate to him the minutest details of his experience, when though he has yet told no one for fear of ridicule or other reasons. Well, let me see what's going on. Let's see what they look like. They said they had, you know, black suits. Oh, here we go. Let's see if it's on here. Let's see. Well, we all know about the Men in Black, but they're saying that they have dark suits, very light grayish white skin, and then their eyes, though, the pupils go sideways. That's what's behind the glasses. Okay, let's see where else we go. Okay, they're talking about the anatomy of the Greys again. There are over 1,000 humans in the United States alone who are the offspring of intergalactic or extragalactic beings and terrestrial humans. The son of an acquaintance of the lead-in original is one. I guess he named somebody. Rio Esoterica, Sirius, and the MIB. Let's regress for a moment back to the MIB. According to John Keel, the MIB often state that they are representatives of the nation of the third eye. Based on some of the info we have already researched, it is apparent that Sirius has been in contact with us for a long time, according to George Hunt Williamson, one of the early contactees, in his book Other Tongues, Other Flesh. The Earth Allies of Sirius. The secret societies use the Eye of Horus as an insignia. This symbol has also been seen on the MIB. Secret societies believe that there is a great white lodge on Earth. They call it Shambhala and consider it to be the spiritual center of the world. Now, Theosophists such as Alice Bailey say that the Great White Lodge is on Sirius. If the all-seeing eye is a symbol of Sirius, Earth allies and the MIB wear that symbol, and if Shambhala represents the Great White Lodge on Earth, then the MIB are emissaries of Shambhala. Sirius and Shambhala are two sides of the same coin. This is verified by the book The Undiscovered Country. Oh, remember Star Trek did The Undiscovered Country? By Stephen Jenkins. Jenkins was told by Buddhist priests that Shambhala was located in the constellation of Orion. The entrance to Shambhala on Earth is usually placed in the Trans-Himalayan region. Some assert it is in the heart of the Gobi Desert, where there have been allegations of crashed discs and bases. According to the explorer Nicholas Roerich, there are caves in the Himalayan foothills that have subterranean passages. In one of these passages there is a stone door that has never been opened because the time for its opening has not yet arrived. In 1930, Durrell founded the Brotherhood of the White Temple. He says that the entrance to Shambhala is for underground. He goes on to say that space bends around Shambhala and that there is a warp which leads to another universe. Now, that's some kind of Stargate over there. There you go. Alright, let's see what else we got. Okay, some other projects. Name of psychic, Nancy Fuchs. They have a psychic talking about stuff. The Goblin Universe. Let's just say, page 222. The ability to materialize mental constructs is not unknown. Suppose one creates a field with the mind that is strong enough to attract supercharged particles. The particles are real but unstable in their assemblage, since the stability depends on the intermediate mental component. Physical aspect of UFOs and other phenomena lie in the behavior of electromagnetic fields. And what else we got here? Let's keep going. But this was all kinds of things here. They give names, and I guess this was a public record. Someone dropped it off at my door. UFOs are extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial, interdimensional, and time travelers. Okay. Entities with cyborg-like traits having both mechanical and biological features turn up quite frequently in reports. It is odd that among the viruses, there are some that look like UFOs, like T bacteriophage. Do some UFOs have the ability to operate in the micro dimension of viruses? Common in the discipline of yoga is noted the ability to become large or small. There you go. Wow. Alright, they talk about cloning, which we know cloning is, back then this was all a conspiracy. A lot of people got in trouble for talking about cloning and everything else. Men in black, oriental or olive skin, eyes sensitive to light, eyes have vertical pupils, very pale skin in some types, do not conform easily to our social patterns, usually wear black clothes, drive black cars, and wear sunglasses. In groups they are all dressed alike, sometimes disoriented. They cannot handle a psychological curveball or interruption to their plan, often intimidate UFO witnesses and impersonate government officials, equivalent to our CIA from another galaxy. So men in black are from another galaxy. UFO contact from undersea. They said there are two periods here. I'm not reading it. Well, let me read it. January 3rd, 1979, UFO C111 III, capitalized, or 3, III. During the regression session, the following information came forth. Subject was taken to one of 3 pyramid bases. 2 pyramid bases are under the ocean, 1 on land. Subject was taken to base between Berlin and Santiago, off the coast of Chile. Other underwater base is in the Atlantic in an unspecified location. The base was entered through an underwater tunnel. The aliens stated that they had been there 36 months at that time. Aliens told the subject that there were 6 other individuals whom the aliens had contacted. Okay, subject stated that the aliens voiced that they were eventually going to make themselves known to the world. Aliens stated that they control the Chinese and they have provided the Chinese with a device that can paralyze cities and towns completely. Aliens stated, just good to know, heads up. They gave them some kind of device. Takes down all the grid probably. Aliens stated that the device will cause a change that is going to be something of which the world cannot wait. The Chinese are to provoke certain unspecified changes, and that in those changes people who are negative will disappear. Subject remembers seeing future scenes of people running disoriented along roads and that there is a disaster coming. Details of underwater tunnel describes as walls of firmed water, not rock. The ship eventually generated a force field which repelled the water around it. Devices were supposedly installed in subject's head by aliens. Subsequent x-rays revealed nothing. Wow. First contact with these groups of aliens began 4,000 years ago. It has been thousands of years since this group last descended to Earth. Wow, okay. History and operations of Operation Trojan Horses. Physical evidence. All kinds of junk have fallen out of the sky throughout recorded history. Ivan T. Sanderson has in his files extensive lists that go back to Roman times. Ridiculous things such as stone pillars and heavy metal wheels have come crashing out of the blue, and there are countless cases of ice blocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds, dropping all over this planet. The flying saucers have been spewing all kinds of trash all over the landscape. In nearly every instance, these materials always prove to be ordinary earthly substances like magnesium, aluminum, chromium, and even plain old tin. Each of these incidents give the skeptics a new ammunition. Mysterious hollow spheres have also been dropping out of the sky all over the world. These such spheres were found in the Australian desert in 1963. They were about 14 inches in diameter and had a shiny polished surface. Efforts to open the spheres failed, and they were turned over to the USAF. Other metal spheres have dropped out of the sky in Mexico, 1967, and Conway, Arkansas, 1967. The Mexican steel ball was identified as titanium, the one in Arkansas steel. Alright. Thousands of UFO photos have been taken since 1882. There's just one problem. With very few exceptions, no two UFO photos are alike. The sightings forced two unacceptable answers upon us. All the witnesses were mistaken or lying. Some tremendous unknown civilization is exerting an all-out effort to manufacture thousands of different types of UFOs and is sending them all over our planet. Okay. We're just cutting through this. They're just talking about all the cases. I don't think I'm reading you anything new. Other people have found this stuff. Let's see what's going on at the end of this. Addendum by the author, gravitational propulsion. Okay, well we know we've seen stuff on the History Channel now about that. What does this say in conclusion? He was saying in here, I don't see it now, but there's tens of thousands of races that have actually, let's see. Here's one. They had some stuff in Fatima. They're saying it's like alien things and globes in the sky. Wow. Alrighty then. Alright, now it's the O.H. Crow files. I mean, there is a lot more to it, but that's part of your alien disclosure. Hopefully it was interesting to you. And again, some of the things they talked about. And this was written in 1988. January 1988. Had an abstract to it, so it's like a thesis. Alrighty then. You have a wonderful, wonderful, you know what? Let's move on. Let me see if there's any quick news real quick while I have this up and running. I'm not even going to stop it. Let's just do this real quick because I want to make sure there's nothing new. That was terrible. The news. Check out the news from yesterday, my breaking news, if you didn't see it. And I'm not even wearing my glasses. We can put them back on now. I can't read with them anymore on. I guess my eyesight's getting better. Can't read with my regular glasses on. Uh-oh. Okay, something's happened there. Let's see. Alright, we have, if the thing will move a little faster. Come on. We have 131 days, 12 hours, 5 minutes, and 32 seconds before December 21st, 2012, 11:11 Greenwich Mean Time. And we'll move on here to the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Then we might do Fukushima. Indonesia reports the 9th death from H5N1 bird flu. Twin 6.3 and 6.4 earthquakes strike northwestern Iran. Come on, roll down. Oh. Alright, lightning strike kills 13 and wounds 20 in Bangladesh. Oh my goodness. Unusual summer cyclonic storm blasts the Arctic. I think I reported that yesterday. Let's see if there's anything else that looks familiar. The 7th protocol on the migration of the jet stream causing the formation of more icy cyclonic storms. Armageddon chick. Luxury escapes for the end of the world. Okay, I already... Let's go into... I don't think I'm going to go into the Watchers tonight. Let's just go into the Fukushima. The radiation. That might be important. Well, wait. We better go into the Watchers. Remember, there might be something happening on the 15th or the 16th. I know we're going into a meteor shower. There this is. I'm going to close this. Okay, let's go into the Watchers. It won't let me close. Okay. We're freezing up. I think that's going to be our news for today. We're starting to really slow down. I'm not seeing anything new. It's not changing. I don't want to lose the information, maybe. We'll try it. Let's see. We'll try one more time. Oh, yes. We are going to go really slow. Alrighty, then. If I see anything else that's important... Oh, wait. Here we go. We'll try the Watchers. I might not even go into Fukushima. Because it's Saturday, remember? They always... The ones that run it over there, they have a couple days off for the weekend. Usually. Let's see. Hold on. I'm getting ready to... I don't want to lose all the information I just read to you. Because I promised you guys that. Let me see. Sunspot 1540 produced a long-duration M1.0 solar flare. Rapid ice melt opens Arctic's northwest passage. 2 extremely dangerous earthquakes, magnitude 6.4 and 6.3, struck northwestern Iran today. low pressure system and dust near Cape Verde Islands. Ernesto dissipates over southern Mexico, may become Hector in Pacific. Okay, there's that. Okay, we'll give the well, let me look. I'd hate to not do something for you guys. Let's see. We'll take a quick peek. E-N-E. Sorry. Oh my gosh, my nose is itching. Why is that? Someone must be talking about me. Oh, I wonder if something's coming in through the window. That's weird. Oh, yes, we have one breaking news thing here. Am I hearing things knocking in the background and all kinds of stuff? I don't know if you heard that. I'm hearing weird stuff. Okay. Japan newspaper, Tokyo area turned out to be as contaminated as Fukushima, Kyoto professor. 5 quakes, magnitude 4 and above, hit Fukushima in the last 6 days. I didn't hear that before. In the last 6 days, 5 quakes, magnitude 4 and above. Well, how far above hit Fukushima in the last 6 days? Do you see how they don't report out? Jeez. Fukushima Chief Yoshida, we must bring foreign experts in to help reactors not stabilize. Oh, it's not stabilized. Oh, here's more. Report, yellow radioactive substance in Kashiwa neighborhood near Tokyo. I saw the roofs of other houses. Most of them were covered with it. Fukushima mother, we suffered from nausea and diarrhea. I wonder why the government didn't help us evacuate. Did they abandon us? Well, we know that answer. They did this to the whole world. The whole world. Remember that. Today, Louisiana test results, radioactive thorium, lead, and more detected in sinkhole samples. TV, concerns about integrity of top of giant Louisiana salt dome, measures 1 by 3 miles. Okay, that's it for today. Heads up in Louisiana. I think, isn't Dutch Sense down there by Louisiana? Heads up! Heads up, Dutch Sense! Wonder if he knows about any of this. He probably does. We'll find out if he does later. Heads up, Dutch Sense. Alrighty then. This is one day down for the weekend. You have one more to go. Enjoy Saturday evening. Take care, and I'll see you on the flip side tomorrow. Let me see. Hopefully I can end this without a problem. And upload this. Wow, 50 minutes.